it's your old buddy Bob K, and yeah, we're dressed for winter. We're down here at Goat Island at the brink of the American Falls in Niagara Falls, New York. And we're going to take a little trip, Prospect Point, Cave of the Winds, Three Sisters Island. And you're going to get to enjoy some of this beautiful winter weather we have here in Western New York. Over 100 years ago, they would let people walk out onto that ice bridge until there was a tragedy. The ice shifted. Some of those brave souls lost their lives. Now, this observation tower is where you take the elevator down to the Maid of the Mist during the summer months. The American Falls. Now, if you look down the Niagara Gorge, you see the Rainbow Bridge. A couple miles downriver is the Whirlpool, which is a fantastic sight to see. The power of the water is just truly awesome. There's a freezing mist in the air, and I don't know if it's getting on the camera lens, but I'll find out. Let's get a closer look on Prospect Point. Snow removal. That goes on. That goes on every day down here. Niagara Falls State Park is the oldest state park in the history of the United States. A little factoid for you. Construction going on down here, apparently. Not currently. They're building a stairway from the bottom of the American Falls up to Prospect Point, because the elevator wait from the Maid of the Mist can take an awful long time because of the attraction of that boat ride, that famous boat ride. Slowly I turned, step by step, inch by inch. The famous vaudeville Niagara Falls sketch, which the Three Stooges made famous. If you're a Stooge fan. I was in high school when they dammed off the American Falls to see if they could remove the huge boulders, huge rocks that had fallen at the base of the falls. Didn't take them long to realize it was a job that not even the Army Corps of Engineers could pull off. So what did they do? They drilled a number of holes and put in some devices So when the falls would start to erode and some of those huge boulders were getting ready to fall, they could monitor that. Whether those alarms are still in duty, I can't say. And there's the Canadian Niagara Falls, Canada skyline. You got casinos, you got observation towers. It's quite the bustling tourist attraction in the summertime. Well, we've left Prospect Point. I drove over to Goat Island, which is just on the other side of the American Falls. And because of the winter and the ice and the snow, you can't get close to the Horseshoe Falls and you can't get down to the Bridal Falls because of the slippery walkways. So I'm taking you over to here, what they call Three Sisters Islands, which is part of the Goat Island complex. And this is one of the rare spots where you can really get a feel for the rapids that head down to the Horseshoe Falls. This is one of the more scenic, more beautiful spots to come down to. In the summertime, this is all running water over here. You've got a small, almost creek-like area. And you can always hear the roar of the falls. Now, my father-in-law told me back in his day, before the Robert Moses power plant, which was constructed in the late 50s, wrapped up in the early 60s, before they started siphoning off the water to create power at the hydroelectric plant farther downstream, the roar of the falls, because it could be heard well into the Niagara Falls neighborhoods that surround the area. It was that great. But much less water goes over the falls, especially in the wintertime, because it's siphoned off into the reservoirs on both sides of the border. Because of that siphoning off of water, the erosion of the falls has decreased over the years. The falls started about 12 miles downstream in what is now Lewiston, New York, and has worked its way back over the last 11,000 years to where it currently is today. And eventually the falls will erode into a series of rapids, because once it gets past the Niagara Escarpment, you don't have the great drop in height that it experiences to this day. Now, I wouldn't worry about it. None of us are going to be around to see it. So this is the third island, which goes farthest out. And you can see the ducks. They don't much care about the cold. They don't care about the ice. They don't care about the snow. They make it through the winter. What they find to eat this time of year, I couldn't tell you. But they survive. When I was in my teens, you were allowed to walk out to the brink of those rapids out there. And we often did in the summertime. That's frowned upon today. And you got to be careful down here because it is icy, as I just took a step off that rock. But it is beautiful. We'll do another one of these in the summertime, at the height of the summer. Give you a contrast. Coming down here this time of year, especially with these temperatures in the teens, it's not for everybody. And I know I've often taken for granted, growing up in this area. Growing up as a kid, one of the few times you'd come down to Niagara Falls, the falls itself, is when you'd get out of town company. But now I like to come down here every so often. About 12 years ago, I even created a website dedicated to Niagara Falls called Niagara Falls Up Close. I haven't done much with it over the last couple of years. My other duties have taken me away from the site, but you can see the link right there if you want to check it out. Gives a lot of history about the falls themselves, which are rich in history going back to the American Revolutionary War. There's a photographer up ahead. You can get some great shots down here this time of year. And that's going to be an award-winning photograph, I'm sure.
I got it. I like the place today.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's going to be very short notice for a practice. More fun, more relaxed. Yeah, we need to relax it.
All right, let's take a walk down to the Cave of the Winds, which is at the base of the American Falls. This is really something you're not exposed to on a regular basis. This is a beautiful winter scene down here. It's so much different when you come down here in the wintertime as opposed to height of the tourist season in July and August. You can see the mountain of snow and ice that has developed at the base of the falls. You come down here in the summertime, this hurricane deck will drench you. You have to be covered in rain gear to get out of here with dry clothing afterwards. Truly magnificent. The state workers erect wooden steps every spring. Basically, that's the area right there. They disconnect, take them down in the wintertime. But in the summertime, you can walk all the way out to the rocks that right now are covered in ice and snow. Take a walk down to the lower level. As I said, the extension of the hurricane deck, as they call it, will be rebuilt in the springtime. Off in the background is the Rainbow Bridge, which connects the two cities. Every year, work crews go up and down, they scale the gorge to make sure there are no loose rocks, boulders, shale that can fall down on the tours below. I shouldn't say just workmen, they are trained climbers, very good at their job. $14 to come down here. In the summertime, you can pretty much stay down here almost as long as you'd like. We're not going to make this young lady stay down here any longer. and necessary. Ready?
Whenever you're ready, no rush.
This is unique to the American side of the falls. Feel the little frozen pellets, which is the mist from the falls. It's 17 degrees. Freezes before it hits the ground. Now we're heading back up. About 130 feet.
Where are you from originally?
Me? I'm from here.
We were detecting it. Dialect.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people say that. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. You guys have any questions?
It's just rough here. Might as well take a walk down to the Bridal Falls. You can't go down to the Bridal Falls this time of year. Steps are way too icy for that. But in the summertime, it's where the tourists can sit and have their burgers and ice cream. If you're dressed for it, this is a great time of year to come down and see the natural beauty of the American Falls and the Canadian Falls. And this is the statue of Nikola Tesla, who was a brilliant, brilliant man who created the concept of alternating current, which is used in the first power plant down here at the falls. He was moved aside by a man with riches, Mr. Westinghouse. Tesla never got his just due until long after he was gone. And there's a faint rainbow in the air this morning, now afternoon. And we'll bring you back in the summertime. show you the difference. This is Bob K. Still having fun.